We've been talking about the learning through play with technology, so a combination of play and technology in learning. And what does this really mean? Learning through play is a pedagogical approach that integrates play-based activities into educational settings to promote cognitive, emotional, and social development in children. This is grounded on the belief that play is an essential part of learning, particularly during early childhood, but also in later stages of development. And there's research that then highlights quite a number of benefits that come from this, including cognitive development, language and literacy development, STEM skills, social and emotional development, empathy, which of course has empathy and all, and physical development as well through play, and then also just building on creativity and imagination and just broader long-term benefits around academic success. So play has been documented to be an important part of learning. And I think that was demonstrated yesterday in the lessons, in the sessions that we had here at plenary, and also just in the breakout rooms that we had. Now we just want to dig a little deeper, and we have a very few questions today that we just want to get different perspectives. The representation at this base is intentional. We have perspectives from either people that have been involved in the review of a system. We have perspectives of experts in special needs education. We have perspectives of experts in assessment. We have perspectives of experts in just the broader policy framework, particularly for Kenya, and also just the lessons that they've had around the world. And we also have perspectives of research looking at the broader intervention around learning through play and technology. And we have a couple of questions that we want to pose just to help us think both what has been learned, but then also what does the future hold in terms of the discussions that we're having. And so allow me, and I'm trying to get the other mic. Oh, great. Great. Then we shall, I think we'll start with you, Mr. Bartholomew. Please, now that you're holding the mic, go right ahead and please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, team. Good morning. My name is Bartholomew Lumbasi. I'm the head of the Directorate of Policy, Partnerships and East Africa Community Affairs, which entails formulation and review of education policies, engagement with all non-state actors within the country, as well as the bilateral engagements with the other countries, and more specifically promoting regional and the East African integration. I'm glad to be here to join you in this particular discussion with regard to K-play and the role it plays in ensuring that the children acquire the desired competencies and skills. Thank you so much. And we want to congratulate IREX and EdTech and all the organizations that are here, including Aga Khan, for the good work that you are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Could we just appreciate Mr. Lumbasi? Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Tiang.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I'm Franklin Etiang. I work at the Kenya National Examinations Council. I'm an assistant director coordinating specifically development of assessments in for the creative arts and the humanities division, but specifically I am a specialist in music and dance. I am a teacher of music. I was a classroom teacher for 12 years before stepping out to do this for an extra 13 years. And I'm a creative composer of music, ile ya kuandika score. I'm a trainer, I'm a performer, I play saxophone, play piano. So I like to play. I'm happy to be here, thank you.
A round of applause, please. And if you're all in agreement that performance is well deserved this afternoon by Mr. Franklin, say okay. We shall follow up. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Good morning. My name is Sheila Luta. I'm an assistant director in the Directorate of Special Needs Education at Ministry of Education Headquarters, Nairobi. I am the officer in charge of ICT integration in the education of our students with disabilities, adaptation of teaching and learning resources, and also advisory for the implementation of the junior school pathway for our learners and trainees with disabilities, both age-based with adaptation and also the stage-based curriculum pathway. By training, I am a teacher trained in the education of learners with hearing impairment. My teaching subjects are English, literature, and Kenya Sign Language. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yes,
to
Doc.
the audience, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Dr. Robert Juma Wamalwa. I am an engineer by profession, and I'm one of the experts who participated in the review of education reforms. That was Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms. And here, I'm happy to hear what Madam Sheila has said, that she's working on the pathways. Those are some of the things that we came up with in the recommendation. I am here because, being an engineer, it is not, engineering, we have so many areas of engineering. We have civil, electrical, but mine is mechanical engineer, and then up there, environmental engineer. So I've done a lot of things, and also in the field of education, I have some good experience. That's the reason why I'm here, because of that a Presidential Working Party on education reforms. What you are doing, does it align with what we recommended? And looking at that, the role of play and technology in improving foundational learning. Technology, just as an enabler to access educational materials and for students and prepare students for tech-driven world. What you do here, when you go to America, you should find yourself in that space and you'll just be okay. When you go to Asia, when you go to any part of the world, the global, wherever you go, you find yourself to be compliant. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause to Doc. And I think you can appreciate the balance that we are bringing to the panel. I'll come to Jen. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Jennifer Otieno, and yes, you heard that right, Otieno. I know I don't look like an Otieno, but that's the case. So as George said, I am the CEO and founder of Education Design Unlimited. We are the learning partner to IREX on the K-Play project. So from these topics, I'm very involved in the play side. I also am the co-lead for Kenya for the EdTech Hub, which is a global research collaborative focused on generating evidence around the use of technology in education. And so we do a lot of work on the ground here, developing evidence for the use of technology and helping our partners to use that evidence for more evidence-based decision making. And then the last bit is I am a mom. I have 2 young girls, ages 4 and 3. So I live and breathe foundational learning every day, all day, with my little ones. So I also bring the perspective of a parent into these discussions. Thank you.
Wow. A round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jen. And I think probably just underlining the importance of the collaboration that we have under this project with Jen and her team. That's helping us to really document evidence. There's a new word that I gathered today, which is the evidence. Evidence. I think it was Sheila shared in the morning. Yes, evidence that can be evidenced. So we get the help from Jen and EDU supporting us in that end. Without taking too much time, allow me to just jump straight in with our first question, and I'll direct this question actually to Mr. Lumbasi. And then I'll swing it also to Sheila with a special needs education perspective to it. How is the concept of play currently integrated into national and subnational education policies? Are there specific frameworks or initiatives that support learning through play?
Thank you so much, Kogolla. I think this is a very good subject that we want to look at, but we need to demystify this fact that it's a new concept because one, when we went to school, we used to count and jump using the rope, and much of the time we would be punished for letting the cows to go eat other people's maize because we were busy playing. And we learned a lot through play. And we went to school and they had the boxes and we had to jump the whole day. Every time you had an opportunity was to go and play. But because of the emphasis with the element of the need for us to get good grades so that we can go and pursue the well-defined careers where you are getting employed, maybe that's where when we lost the gist. And I'm glad that with the new competency-based curriculum, what are the core competencies for the competency-based curriculum? The first one is what? Communication and collaboration. And actually, when I look at all of you, right now, I think when you go back home, you are busy setting up very tall walls. And you are stopping your children to walk out of your gate to go and play. And whereas you remember very well that yourself, the way you were brought up, there was no fence. Were there fences? There was no gate. And the doors were wide open. And you would go and play. When you play, you learned how to communicate, you learned how to collaborate, and that is where our African culture rests. So just to sum up, as a country, having recognized the key role that play has with regard to the delivery of our curriculum, when you look at our national policy on curriculum that defines the framework for engagement and also the competency-based education curriculum and the corresponding curriculum designs, one of the key things that the CBC has emphasized is moving away from teaching to facilitation. And when you are emphasizing on facilitation, that means the approaches that you are using in the delivery of the curriculum must be engaging. You let the children to engage. You let the children to learn how to, through project-based approaches and other innovative approaches, the children are allowed to engage and the teacher is just facilitating by providing the required materials. So we realize that that is already provided for. Then one of the key emphasis for early years of learning in pre-primary, when you look at the pre-primary policy, when you look at the policy on SNE, the much emphasis is the provision for the children to be given a chance to play. And the teachers must embrace those particular innovative approaches in teaching, in facilitating the learning. Another thing is that when you look at our curriculum, we look at even the learning areas that are provided for. Music is provided for. The issues of creative arts is already also provided as a core area of learning. But at the same time, we have got the issue of the core curricular activities. And we have a national policy on physical education. And with support from the GIZ, we want to see how this can be integrated. But we cannot say that we've done much. There is the element of the provision within our competency-based curriculum, and that one of the core competencies is digital literacy. And the emphasis is that you cannot do anything, you cannot transact, you cannot travel if your digital skills are behind. And our government, from the president himself, made a pronouncement that there is the need for digitization, for us to have a citizen who is able to transact and engage digitally. So the digital citizenship is the way to go. And with that particular emphasis, how do we ensure that the citizens are acquiring the desired skills? One of them is through play. And this morning, I think it was a great display. Children, when you are in a bus or you are traveling, the first gadget they would like to interact with what? Is the phone. And when they get the phone, do you show them where the game is? What do? They download it. That means leveraging on the technology we have and ensuring the teachers have got the capacities to develop the digital content. You know, we are heavy consumers of the digital the devices, the content. How much are we giving to that particular space is the question. So through this particular project, I'm glad that if you will be able to build the capacity of the teachers to be able to create content and be able to provide applications where children can interact and learn and collaborate, I think that's the way to go. And I'm glad EdTech, IREX, Aga Khan, and the rest of you who are in this room have taken the initiative to lead the way. You are the game changers. Step forward and be counted. Thank you.
I'll give you pass it on to Sheila.
Play is beyond playing. Play is for learning outcomes in class. Play is therapeutic for a person with a disability. Play is a way of learning the social skills that you and I acquire naturally in our spaces. For a child or a person with a disability, then there is need for an occupational therapist to come in to use play for me to be able to gain the social skills that I need, the activities of daily living. Play is therapeutic to a child with a disability because when we are doing physiotherapy, we need to embed play so that it becomes a natural process and not a painful process for any child or any person with a disability undergoing physiotherapy. So for us, play is for learning, play is for evaluation, assessment for a disability. Play is used for intervention. Play is used for rehabilitation. If I have lost the power of using my arms and my fingers, play can be used to both give me practice for my fine motor skills or gross motor skills for the whole body, while also helping me to achieve some milestones that I may not have gained or I may have lost as a result of that disability. So for us, play is very important because as I am playing, I am recovering or gaining some milestones. My mental faculties are being activated. Play that is learning that is said to be boring to what we call in quotes normal children. How boring can it be for a child with a disability whose attention span is so limited? When we embed play and technology, and how does technology come in? It makes learning so interesting. It makes what I would not have done with my physical body as an amputee or maybe a child or a person having cerebral palsy, technology can come in to ease and make me participate in play. When I'm on this automated wheelchair, I can still move around with the ball and participate. When I'm on crutches, when I have other assistive or adaptive technologies embedding play, then I can interact with you and my social skills will be enhanced. So play is very important for a child with a disability or a person with a disability. And as Director Lumbasi has said, we have caged ourselves away from play. Even here right now, if I told you to do a simple one, head, shoulder, knees, and toes, some people will be looking at me like, I mean, I'm 40 years plus. Why should I be playing? But there is power in bringing out this little child and little boy or girl in you for us to be able to come to the level of this learner who needs to play. So you and I are the facilitator for play-based learning, play-based achievement of milestones that will be so difficult for a child with a disability. So I am an advocate of play-based or fun-based learning and technology, and I would call upon you to please get on board this wagon so that we spread the gospel of fun-based learning and technology for children with disabilities.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much. Dr. Juma, coming to you probably with the heart of the Presidential Working Party on education reforms, how was play and technology integrated into the reform process and the subsequent efforts that are taking us forth?
Thank you. Thank you very much, our moderator. The integration of play into the learning or into national or sub-national education policies. This is whereby at national level, we are talking of the CPC. That is where Kenya, the CPC, that is the current curriculum in Kenya, it emphasizes play-based learning as part of the curriculum for the learners. And it views play as a key method for developing critical thinking, creating and creativity. We have, we are looking at the aspect of critical thinking, creativity, and social skills. So you look at several frameworks and initiatives support learning through play. We have been here, we've seen what play does, and incorporating this into the curriculum, we find that it is something that is going to help our learners. Because looking at this curriculum and comparing with the 844, whereby yesterday I was very much amazed by Professor Ungondo, what he said, transitioning from 844 to the new curriculum. This is whereby you find a student or a learner, after one term in school, then you will find this learner will want to, when he's at home, he will tell you, I want to sleep. Why do I want to sleep? Because he or she has been through a very tedious process and he has not had time to express or to play and do other things. So he will want to sleep more, or he will want to go out and play and even come to the house late. And some of you parents, you have been seeing this. So the only thing to integrate the play into the curriculum is the government's initiative to come up with a new curriculum. That is the CPC. That is one. And then that's the coming up also, we have the National Early Children Development Education. You from the ministry, you know all this. It is in place. CPC I've mentioned incorporates play in foundational years. That's early years of learning through activities that are designed to enhance the motor skills, social interaction and cognitive development, just as you said in your introduction. And then At a county level, the ECT, we have seen some of the counties, they have started these programs whereby, you know, because ECT is under the county government, you find that it has got center managers, and center managers, they have come up with programs of introducing this play, equipping those centers with those equipment where learners can be able to play very well. So that is where, and that was the emphasis of the government in this, to make sure that play is integrated into the learning system. Yes.
Thank you very much. Could you appreciate? I'll move us to the second question, and this comes to you, Franklin, and then you'll also share the mic with Jen when you're done. And it's a more of an assessment perspective. How can education systems, which are often focused on traditional metrics and exams, adapt policies to value play-based learning as an effective approach?
Thank you, George. I will speak from the assessment perspective, and I would like to first of all look at the curriculum that is guiding competency-based education, that is very specific as to what needs to be done, as suggested in the learning experiences that the learners should be taken through. I want to look at that in line with play or creative activities in the classroom. First, we know there are types of assessment. Basically, three: assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. Each one of them has its own stage. But for this play, since it's a learning process that we are focusing on, so that it's enjoyable, it's relaxed, it's homely to the learners, I want us to think about assessment as learning. That would be very useful here. As the learners carry out the activities that have been prescribed by the teacher and are guided by the teacher has a chance to observe very many things. You, as the teacher, you will be able to see each of these core competencies at display, depending on what sort of activity has been prescribed. So the CBC approach is very specific, and I think what we have failed on in the few years is on implementation, but this project emphasizes that very much. And when it's well undertaken, assessment as learning is what the teacher does to feed into the learning process. You're able to observe, as if there's a learner who is, who does not want to work with others, you're able to talk to them and bring them back into the fold and have them be part of. You are building their collaborative skills, okay? You are building their self-efficacy when you tell them to, probably introduce or express a point. You are building their ability to learn, in learning to learn, because they're using their experiences to improve themselves and the experience from their peers. And all this happens in an environment of play. But specifically, a lot of assessment can take place here because it's a task that you're given. For example, we have, in grade 3, we have what's called the integrated assessment task, a task that incorporates several learning areas that the grade 3 learners take. The teachers here, are we speaking the same language? At grade 3, this task will touch different aspects, including language, presentation, they have dance, they have song, they have community activities, and a lot of them are activities that learners relate to. But there is a marking guide. There is a scoring rubric that goes to the design and identifies which specific learning outcome each activity is targeting. So then, for play to be very meaningful, we must have at the background a rubric that describes different levels of performances of different activities and how they can be scored. So I think we are well in, and we do not need to reinvent the wheel. It is already there. Let's make it better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Jen, over to you.
Thank you. Maybe I'll just touch on the aspect of technology and how technology can support some of this specifically. So if we think about a young person, and in the case of foundational learning, a young person who's struggling, and the teacher, is able to see some of the things that is going on through observing that young person in the classroom. Teachers, veteran teachers especially, are amazing at collecting small bits of data and really making use of that data in a powerful way. And technology is also great at helping to collect and make sense of data. And so, as we think about technology at a classroom level, technology can help that teacher to gather more data beyond what they're able to collect observationally or through traditional assessments, but being able to give them more data points to be able to understand how can I really target the instruction for this young person where they really need it the most. So many of us have heard about approaches like teaching at the right level, which are quite evidence-based. These are approaches where essentially what you're doing is grouping young people based on their needs, and you're helping provide more targeted instruction. Well, technology can make that process easier for teachers. Make the ability to group young people into groups, to provide targeted instruction, to manage time, all of those things more effectively. So it adds a layer of support to the teacher to be able to do that work in the classroom and to lead amazing playful learning experiences in the classroom that help young people gather the right skills to help them progress. If we start to then think about the system level, additionally, then that data, as that bubbles up, it allows our partners as policymakers to understand what's going on in the classrooms, either at a subnational level or a national level, to then be able to iterate policies to make them more effective, or again, to help create more targeted interventions, better use of resources to support different communities more effectively. Our partners at the Ministry of Education in the ICT department are evolving what we've previously known as NEMIS, to CHEMIS, and this was part of the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party as well, to evolve this system. And they're doing incredible work to be able to now think about how do we bring together so many different data sources to make sense of what's going on for a young person. So whilst a teacher may be providing an incredible learning experience, maybe that young person is having some issues at home and is missing school. Maybe they have some health concerns that's inhibiting their ability to learn. Maybe they're hungry. There's lots of things that go into a young person's ability to gain foundational skills. And what these data systems are going to do is going to give us a more holistic picture of what's going on with these young people and what we need to do to support them better. So as the role of technology then can be helping to provide us with a clearer picture of what's actually happening as we gather amazing information from our teachers, from the young people themselves, from system leaders, making sense of all of that data so that we can do our work collectively on behalf of the learners more effectively.
Well, please. Thank you very much, Jen. And I move us, and this is an open one, so even you, Jen, can answer it.
I don't know, Kogolla, if
yes.
I would look at the question that you just asked my colleagues
yes,
on how can education systems, which are often focused on traditional metrics and exam adapt policy to to value-based learning as an effective approach. And for us to assist the education systems, then we also need to look at the gaps. Where are the real problems?
Yeah.
I think she's talked about the issue of the evidence. And if that is put on table, then we need to see what can we do for us to address and generate evidence that is required. The other thing is in terms of the local content. Yes, I know the biggest impact is this is creating employment, but is the local content available? Is it, or whatever open resources that are available, do they fit in the needs of our curriculum? So if we can address that particular gap in terms of generation of content, then it will be okay. The other thing is the capacity of our teachers. Are teachers oriented to embrace and use K-play? Then, if not, then we need to really retool and capacity these particular teachers. As Jennifer is talking, we also talk about connectivity. What is the coverage as a country? Can a child in Loyangalani have access to internet? Not even internet, the device. Yes, we know the essence of what this is doing and how it can easily enhance the issue of foundational learning. And when we talk about foundational learning, we'll talk about reading. My sister there today, she was taken to Jacaranda instead of Jacaranda. But if we have a digitized system whereby everybody is learning pronunciation, and if you're learning pronunciation, then definitely this is a foreign language. So I think that's another thing. Then another thing also, as we talk about, what about even in terms of connectivity, in terms of the devices, access to these devices for teachers and for the learners. And then another thing is the assessment. When you look at assessment, you may be very good even in singing and dancing, but you are being assessed on what? You are being assessed on mathematics, statistics. And then this person who is getting 100 in mathematics doesn't know how to dance. If we were all assessed on opening up the assessment, so that we are assessing even these creative arts and the play, then if that rubric is integrated and it's part of the school report card that I will be taking home, don't you think we'll have balanced? So we also look at the assessment. What is our assessment policy at the national level, and what really features in? What emphasis are we putting in? When it comes to sports, music, drama, we have a very good rubric. But this rubric is not provided for during the normal learning. So we also need to look at that. Then another thing is in terms of the devices, play devices. We know that at national level we don't have a gap in policy. It's even in the law that the government is promoting. In the Basic Education Act, we need physical education. But the whole thing, what is the gap? When these guys from Lamu, where my brother has been, they are bringing children to compete for football with people from Nyanza or Nairobi. These fellows have never seen these things. For example, you are talking about steeplechases or steeplechases.
Steeplechase. Yes.
Now, ask someone from Kwale here. They have never seen a pitch with facilities for actually. So when you look at the resourcing of our schools, actually, I think we have an opportunity. And that's why I said, step forward and be counted. Now, the element of parental engagement. My sister, Akitoka, she locks the children in the house. And first instruction is, hasemi utoke nikupate kwa jirani. Actually, so the element of parental engagement, we want to emphasize on the value for education. The element of parental engagement, how can we get the goodwill of these parents to recognize and value play-based learning? I'm sorry, Kogolla, I've taken much of your time.
No.
But at the end of the day, I think I'm bringing this point home. So when we are talking about now, how can we bring them and so that they can embrace it? We need to address these particular challenges. Technology is the way to go. When we embrace technology, it will flex time. Children can learn at their own pace. They will be able to bridge the gap of distance. You know, right now, when you want to look at the county uptake of technology, go to TikTok and look at Bomet. You see those things Mr. Beam used to earn millions of money with a big followership. He just laughs, makes some silly moves, and everybody is there watching. And that is money. Guys, this is something that motivates the learners. They reduce their attendance, their concentration level. You will be employed. You know that guy who created that for people to play?
Yes.
And then why are you waiting for tomorrow? It should have been done yesterday. If not now, let's step forward and do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Madam Sheila has something to say, and I'm being signaled that we are 2 minutes away, and I have one more question.
Okay.
Please proceed.
I'll try and use 30 seconds and a few more seconds. Yeah, and I'm an advocate still of special needs education. Don't forget that. I would like to address the parents in this room and supporters of parents in this room, and even those ones watching online, that the competency-based curriculum has come to give us a level playground for our learning outcomes at our levels, giving us open opportunities to thrive in different pathways. And sports is a pathway. We see a lot of representation during competitions in and outside the country, and most of our sports people bag a lot of money. Sini ukweli?
Yes.
Last year we had our learners with intellectual disabilities going to Berlin. The list that they came with in their accounts, as in the one who had the list, was at least 3 million. And this is someone who doesn't even know this is money. So I want to encourage our curriculum support officers, teachers, and specifically parents. Wale wazazi ambao wanasema ya kwamba lazima mtoto wangu afike darasa la 8, hata akipata E, bora akona certificate. We are wasting these children. We have the age-based curriculum pathway and the stage-based curriculum pathway. Wacha mwanafunzi asome yale masomo ambayo anaweza. Do not force our children to go to higher levels, struggling and even making the disability more of a burden than an opportunity to thrive. Allow our children and trainees with disabilities to thrive in what they can do best. If they can do best in vocational skills, I can assure you a birthday cake nowadays is more than 3,000 shillings, a good one. A good dress like the one you're wearing is more than 5,000 kwa fundi. And let us not just think about, I know Juma is an engineer, but we can also thrive in other spaces, especially for our children with disabilities. Do not waste their time. Akifika 20 years ndio unaanza kumtafutia vocational training. So this is a call to the parents to accept their children as they are and give them an opportunity to maximize their potential in the various pathways that we have in the curriculum. Thank you.
Even engineering, if it's taught through play-based, is very easy. So the only problem is the approach that was being used to teach mathematics or engineering design was the problem. If you use this play-based approach, engineering is the easiest because when you walk out, you see your product. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've been signaled that I'm running out of time, but I'm requesting His Excellency Karaganya to allow me a minute for each of the panelists just to answer my final question, which is how can government and organizations scale successful play-based and tech-supported learning models that have been proven to work, particularly the ones that we've been implementing here? And what role does policy play in this? So if I could start with Jen, and then I'll check it that way.
I'll let my colleagues in government answer the question about policy, but I think from my perspective, generating the evidence that can be used to create informed policies is the place where many of us who are researchers or implementers can add value in that scalability process. So all of you that are implementing pay-based learning, you're generating lots of evidence about what works. So of course we have many of us that are here based in the coastal region, but if we think about, for example, our partners in the frontier counties, and how they're using play and technology for minority language learners, for example, a different special need outside of disability, but those teachers who need a bridge to the parents in their communities and to the learners in their classrooms, and how technology can help them use the local language, mother tongue, Somali, and other languages, to be able to build foundational skills for their learners where that teacher may not be from the local community. That's an important piece of evidence that needs to be considered as we strengthen policies about play, about technology, and how to build foundational learning. So I would encourage everyone in the room to be thinking about the evidence you're generating. Where is it going? How are you sharing it with your partners in government? Are you embracing them truly as partners and communicating with them what you're learning and what you're finding so that they can take that evidence and strengthen the work that they're doing? And I think that's a call to action for all of us to be better about sharing our evidence for the use of everyone.
Thank you so much. I think as you've heard, in terms of policy and legislative framework, we have.
Yeah.
But the level of awareness, what can you do to create awareness? What can you do to empower the parents so that the parent can appreciate and recognize? That is very important. So as you're all aware, our government has got a very good legislative framework with regard to digitization and even creating of online jobs. So as you can aggressively also go out and generate content, local content. Let me tell you, maybe when you go to online, you will see content in English. Much is not there in Kiswahili. You see apps. I don't know. Me, I'm cross-cutting, huh? So I don't know I only speak all. I speak my father tongue. I speak partly my mother tongue. But I know him. He speaks so well. Etiang, I don't know if you can have the alphabet in your mother tongue. You record it and then you send it online. What will happen? Can you try it? Put the alphabet or A, E, I, O, U in your mother tongue, then you put it online. See what will happen. Try also to just count 1 up to 10. 1 up to 10 in your mother tongue. Make it available online. See how many people will follow you. And then, I think you can do that. So you start by doing that. Number 2 is financing. As a government, I think we are limited in resources. So we appeal to EdTech and IREX and other organizations to help us in resource mobilization. I know Aga Khan, you've lived in Coast Region forever. I don't know whether you know Mount Elgon exists. Can you able to see the mountain? So can you able to scale up the interventions that you are doing? So scaling up to reach the other parts of the country as organizations will also help us. So another thing is, as you go to these institutions, in terms of the play materials, are you supporting and capacity building of the teachers? Let me tell you, when God created us, he gave us an opportunity. He wrote to us a blank check. It's up to you to fill in the amount. So it's you choose today. If you want 1 million, it's your choice. Yesterday I was looking at Elon Musk. He's working towards being a 1 trillion billionaire. Now, I don't know. myself if I'll get there. The choice on how much you want the check, the value of the check to be, rests with you. Make the choice today and go for the biggest figure. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Lumbasi has told us the policies are there. Policy on ICT, policy, guiding several aspects. But on a very small scale, we have how many teachers in the country? I think TSC will tell us how many they are. But how many are able to implement the different approaches? How many are able to actually facilitate learning in the way that has been dreamt about by the curriculum developer? There are very few. Some are at an age where they are opting out. So critical is retooling the teacher, and the program by IREX is very, I wish it would just expand to have as many teachers as possible retooled. That is implementation of the policy in a very subtle way, but very effective. Then can we be able to have government and non-government institutions team up to provide facilities? Because without facilities, it remains a story that will never come true. Very quickly, leveraging technology in assessment, I think as the Kenya National Examinations Council, just for your information, right now all teacher education, diploma in primary teacher, diploma secondary teacher education, it's all 100% online. The learners log in and take the test. There's a countdown time of 3 hours. When the time is out, it logs you out. Okay? And if we embrace this, technology is one of the key aspects that IREX is emphasizing on. Let the teachers be able to develop simple assessments to make the learners accustomed to answering questions, describing scenarios online, and let them be assessed. If you're able to design such a platform, it will be a good thing as a teacher, because the world is not going to go backwards as far as technology is concerned, and so we have no choice. I think that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I am calling for public-private partnership. We all have different strengths. If you can fundraise, welcome on board. If you can train, welcome on board. If you can play, welcome on board, so that we make this narrative realistic in Kenya and outside Kenya. We are calling for play in schools, play-based learning at home, within the community, play within the hospital setup, and that is our agenda. And I know that by the end of next year, let me give a timeline. As we gather here, if I will be invited again, we will be celebrating evidence that can be evidenced. Thank you so much.
Wow, wonderful. How can government or organizations scale successful play-based and tech-supported?
Yes.
I will just go straight, because I didn't do history. We solve problems, because that is the work of an engineer. And you can only solve a known problem. So don't just come with anything and say solve, but I have to understand. At the moment I will say I've understood what IREX is all about and what it has done in the coastal region. Number one, for the government, is to do what? To standardize best practices across the country. What we have seen in the coastal region, if it can be rolled out to Nyanza, Western, Nairobi, Rift Valley, and everywhere. So that is something very pertinent. Number two, increase investment. Thank you, George, for the role you are doing with IREX. You as the regional director, going out to look for more development partners to come on board and help increase. Thirdly, is that we are looking at what you are doing is a pilot project. Can we increase these pilot projects? If it has to be pilot project, can it be piloted in other regions of the country? Let me talk about the policy. Thank you very much, Mr. Lumbasi, that policies are there. And indeed, policies are there. What we need to do? Review those policies. If we have to review those policies, we make sure that these things are working in the right way. Otherwise, thank you very much and God bless you.
Wow. Wow. Yes.
I want to challenge you guys. See, all of you are doing these things. Do you have a blog on Kenya Creative Learning blog?
Oh,
Online
blog.
blog. Is it there?
Not yet. Lucy, do we have a blog? Not yet.
How many of you follow Nyakundi? How many of you follow fake news online? How many blogs exist for fake news? How many blogs exist for fake news? Many. And all of you follow. And all of you follow.
Yes.
And you have not created one for this. And you can. And then your cousin to Mesomea. Then there's a problem. Can we have that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's usually said that, you know, it's easy to follow fake news than really real products. But deeply, deeply grateful for this opportunity, and just want to thank the panel for taking the time. I wish we had more time because we had more questions, but I hope that we've done justice to the discussion, and unfortunately, I can't even bring it to the floor because they're flashing the red sign at the back. So I just want to thank us, and may we continue the conversations even as we move to the next phase.